Good evening, and thank you for joining us on your Sunday night edition of the This Is Ibrox podcast. I am joined by two good friends. We've got Iain Mitchell on my right and Hef on my left. Another wild weekend in the SPFL. Plenty to talk about tonight. If you're tuned in, please get your comments in. We can discuss it together. Tonight we will be recapping Rangers' trip to Livingston, in which the game finishes 2 each. We will go through the lineup, the game itself, moment by moment, the subs that Danny Rule made, the refereeing decisions, a little bit of post-match comments from Danny Rule, and we'll just sum up in general where this leaves us after Hearts winning yesterday and Celtic losing today. Before we get started, let's check in on Iain and Hef after a whirlwind of a Sunday afternoon. So, Iain, how is the heart rate today?
High. It's very high. Yeah,
High.
It always is for Rangers game, but my God, today takes the biscuit.
Absolutely, yeah.
Chaos. Yeah, that whole game, I went through lots of phases, especially rage and anger, which hasn't been the case too much lately, which is a shame. But yeah, at the end of the game, I didn't know how I felt. To be honest, I'm still trying to process things, but no, I've just about calmed down. Talking about it is going to relive a lot of it, so
yeah,
see how that goes. But I'm all right now.
And Hef, yourself, blood pressure through the roof?
It was a slow start to the day after last night, but then very quickly woken up by the first goal, then the second. So yeah, overall poor day. But I just all these comments are coming through. I just want to get stuck into the conversation that we're going to have, because they're all touching on everything that I want to talk about. So, Tommy, take over.
Absolutely. We'll start at the very beginning as we normally do. Iain, we'll come to you first, just purely because we kind of previewed the game on Thursday's pod. We spoke about kind of hopefully not having like kind of too many changes and kind of going with our strongest 11. So Danny Rule went with Jack Butland in goals, Tav, Fernandez, Suter, Romans with Chukwuani, Raskin, Olsen, Gassama, Mikey Moore and Chermiti. What was your initial thoughts on seeing the lineup, Iain?
I didn't like the change formation, to be honest, but I got it because, again, Majowski would have had to come in for an Adiri who was 50-50 all week. He hadn't trained all week, so I understand it. And I think Mikey Moore tried to play off Chermiti, so, I mean, pre-game, I can't lie, I tweeted about it. I'm sure that I was quite content with it, like Gassama on the left, where he's better, Moore in number 10, where he's better. Everything kind of made sense to me. As much as I didn't think it was perfect, I thought it'd still be enough to get the job done. Again, you've got a strong bench in the back of that. So, not ideal that we can't play the exact same team after a whole week off, but we kind of knew the Sterling one, obviously, beforehand. We knew the Ndidi situation. So, all things considered, it was okay. And I certainly thought it was more than good enough to handle Livingston. My worry today was that Magoma would come back in and Asgard would come back in and Majowski would come back. Just that kind of full rotation that we talked about on Thursday there. So I was glad to not see that. But the way the game went, you could have put anyone out there. It would have been better than what we actually saw in front of us.
Yeah. And Hef, Diomande was on the bench again today. I actually didn't come on today. For me, I feel like he's actually looked good the last few times that we've saw him. Why do you kind of think Danny Rule's decided to maybe take a little bit of a step back with him now?
I don't know. I don't know if it is like what Iain had said about it being a formation issue, and that if we're going to play with the two and in the centre of the park, we need somebody who's a bit more physical. I do appreciate that the way in which Diomande plays is physical, just in a different kind of style. He doesn't shy away from tackles. He doesn't not get stuck in. But I think in terms of just physical presence, I think Raskin, if you're wanting an actual footballer in there, is a better footballer than what Diomande is. And I think Chukwuani is a more physical player than what Diomande would be. So I think in any given day, you could argue that if for whatever reason Raskin wasn't fully fit, that you would then put in Diomande in that position. But I think in terms of having a more strong kind of controlling centre midfielder, I think it's always going to be Chukwueze over Diamande for now. And saying that, if he's going to play with that three, with like the two 8s or 2 6s, whatever you want to call it, with a 10. But like Ian said, Mikey Moore just played up, especially in the attacking phase. He just played up really high alongside Chermiti, which then left it with a 4-2-2 thing anyway. So I don't know. It just seemed as if I don't know. You know how sometimes when the manager comes in, he's just got his favourites, and I think that he's came in and bought Chukwueze would suggest to me that he didn't feel like he'd had enough. So it might just be that it's a case of in the next coming weeks maybe he sees him more importantly for the Old Firm games because he is a good player to have in the Old Firms. So maybe he's just trying to keep his fitness levels for that. But I'm really pulling it. I'm trying to get any sort of reason for that to be the case because the guy's got a week to be prepared if that is the case.
Yeah.
But we'll wait and see.
Yeah, absolutely. So we'll come on to the game now. Not really a lot to speak about kind of first 10 minutes. Romans had a header saved onto the post by their goalkeeper. Their goalkeeper, who I'm sure we will probably speak about quite a bit tonight, had quite a lot of saves. They had maybe a half chance shot outside the box. Fernandes kind of sloppily gave the ball away in the middle, which yet again might be a bit of a recurring discussion as well. It's quite hard to judge how a game's going to go after 10 minutes. Iain, you said in our chat we look a bit slack. So was that kind of your overall kind of feelings at that point?
Yeah, just had that same kind of sloppy, lazy, lack of urgency thing to it. And again, I think it's not the first 10 minutes or so were terrible because obviously Robbins has that chance. If that goes in, happy days, we're off and flying. But I just felt like the passing was a bit poor. It was slack, as I say. And again, people will say the pitch isn't good enough. They're playing the same pitch. Like I just don't get. I didn't really see the tactics we were doing right early on because it was a bit of just hoofing up the pitch. And I said in that chat with you that I didn't like just the feeling that Fernandes and Souttar were given at that point. It just looked like they weren't quite up for it, weren't quite steady, I guess. And obviously Souttar gives that free kick away that leads to the goal, which we sadly have to talk about. But that's a perfect example because it's so needless. Like he's never going to win the header, he's never going to get the ball. It's not exactly a bad foul or anything, but why are you even challenging it? Why are you giving a team like Livi, who will want that kind of thing all day? They're like that's meat and drink to them is set pieces and balls in the box. So giving them the chance to do that just didn't make any sense to me.
Yep, is Hef with us? I can see him. He disappeared for a minute.
Sorry, I was
like Undertaker there.
I was trying to see whether or not my audio got have improved because had the feeling there that my microphone was being a bit rattly. Is it any better?
It was sounding a bit. It seems fine now. Yeah, you seem good. But yeah, back in time, Hev, because we'll come to you for this one. Just the first goal of the game. I think it's around 14 minutes or so. John Souttar, in my opinion, gives away a foul, kind of in a needless situation. Not really much danger at all. Kind of gives them the opportunity to swing the ball into the box. The free kick is swung in by Robbie Muirhead. It finds its way to the back post, where it is converted by Cabangolo, who, in fairness, strikes it really well past
it's a very good
Butland.
goal.
I thought he took it well.
Really good.
Hef, who's to blame for this? Would you say Souttar for giving away the foul? There's still a lot of kind of play on after that. Chermiti probably has a chance to maybe header it. He kind of misses it. And for me, I think our line isn't really in line, so to speak, as well. We're kind of all over the place, really. We're not holding a good line. So where does the fault lie for you on that first goal?
I actually think that the goal is there's a bigger picture to it, in that I think that whenever we are playing these teams, we just don't like. It seems as if when we're playing against bigger teams, sometimes we give them too much respect, and we hold off them, and we try and play it safe, and we don't create an awful lot of chances. But then when we're playing against these so-called smaller teams at the bottom of the table who haven't had a league win, according to Sky Sports during the day, since the 9th of August, we just switch off. It's almost as if it's like, this result will just take care of itself. So when it comes to actual defending simple balls that are coming into the box. I mean, that a free kick from out there is a nothing. Like,
Yep.
I know what you're saying about shooter goes in there, it's needless, there's nothing going on afterwards. Why does he do it? But realistically, if you give away a free kick at that part of the pitch, you're not really looking for it to be a serious threat to concede. So yeah, Souttar's at fault for giving away the foul. I think it's stupid. However, whoever it is that's picking up the man, it's I can't remember who it was. I know that you've just said it,
It's
but I can't
between
remember.
Chermiti and Mikey Moore, but again, why is
Yeah.
Mikey Moore marking a guy like not that he scores a power header or anything, but why is Mikey Moore even back there? Again, Tommy, I heard as well. I've said this to you both in the gantry many times. We just bring everyone back. People just
Yeah.
get in the way. Gassama's, Mikey Moore's, they're not going to win headers. They're not going to challenge. Get out
Pointless,
of the way.
isn't it?
Got the pitch, yeah. But again, I think Chermiti could do better in terms of marking. But again, it's a striker who's not defensively sound either. So there's a few different points of failure, not just so
But
on this one.
Ian, I think it's also just that idea of like, oh well, nobody's headed the ball. We're clear. It's going to roll out. You know, like there's nobody who's just like, no, let's see this out. And that's if you're going to have a team that's going to fight to actually go on and win a league, you need to fight for every single ball for every minute. It's not just a case of, oh, when the chips are down, we're 2-0 down, then we can maybe get some momentum behind us to score 2 goals. Then it needs to start from the start of the game, and I don't know who puts that in. Is that the captain's job to go in and rile people up? We're constantly being told that that's not the case anymore. That the captain's role is not about momentum building. It's all about togetherness and everything else, and buying everybody gifts at the end of the season or whatever it may be. But someone needs to get a grip of that team from the start and just say, no loose balls. We'll make sure that every header that comes into the box is won. I mean, that's without the boys that they brought on were absolute monsters. Like they're absolute giants, and they score a volley from a free
Yeah.
kick. Like it's not
Yeah.
even as if it's like a. If somebody had just bettered Trinity in the air and put a nice header into the far corner or something, you couldn't argue with that. But the fact that the ball's travelled that amount of time and that boy who's never scored for Livingston before manages to just catch it sweet on the
Always the
volley.
same.
It's so
And
Rangers,
you're-
isn't it? It's so Rangers.
And you think to yourself like, is that boy's just made contact with that and it's an absolute fluke? In which case, what do? You hold your hands up and you say, "What a goal!" But there is a bigger picture that I think that needs addressed. Is we can't keep doing this with these smaller teams where we just go, ah, yeah, the result will take care of itself. That ball into the box, someone will get it. We need leaders on the pitch who will go, I'll get it. That's my ball every single time. And I get if Chermiti and Moore are marking the guy, fair enough. But why are Chermiti and Moore marking the guy?
Yeah.
Like, and Jim Cunningham's just put there, it was a freak goal. Sometimes it happens, but in terms of if we are looking for some sort of liability or someone to place the blame on, I think it's got to be Chermiti in that case because as a big striker, regardless of whether or not he's a striker, as a big presence in there, he needs to just lead at the back as well as at the front and just jump up and just get rid of it, even if it puts it out for a corner. But again, is he thinking, oh well, he's not got the ball in the air, there's not much he can do, and then he just produces that as a complete belter right into the bottom
Yeah.
corner.
Completely unopposed to really as well, isn't it? There's not really anyone there to kind of put him off or challenge him, really, isn't it? He's kind of got the freedom of the box to kind of sort it away. But I did
great
think
goal.
I thought it was a great goal as well. I thought he hit it so clean, didn't he? And I don't think Jack Butland really had any chance with that one here. So I think from there, like kind of really sum up the rest of the half. From my notes, kind of state that there was a lot of chances for Rangers, although I have to admit when watching it, it didn't really feel like that for some reason. But we had a Tav free kick saved, and on the rebound, Fernandez volleys over the bar. Mikey Moore ran through, has a shot outside the box yet again. Goalie tips it away, another save. From that corner, we saw Fernandez shuffle left, right, about 8 times, and then absolutely scuffs it with his left foot. Which was baffling considering the goal that he later scores.
The Romans'
We'd-
chance is the best chance.
Yeah. I think we had Gisama started to kind of take on the fullback, although kind of story of the season, final ball wasn't really on the money. We had a big kind of scramble from a corner. It looked like kind of Raskin had a shot, cleared off the line. Ball landed to Chermiti eventually. He smashed it straight off the keeper. They said in commentary, you could probably say that Livingston defended it well, got bodies in, but for me, he's got to get some air on that, you know, and find a way through the bodies. What did you think about that one, Ian?
It's got to score. It's the exact same as the Motherwell one. Albeit the chance is different, but I've seen a few people start to say this, and it's so true. He just focuses on hitting the target with this kind of chance. It's just like, I'm just going to make sure I don't miss, and just hits it at the goalie. How many chances, how many times does he do that? It's so often with this guy. And again, he has last week, and he's brilliant, and he scores a really good hat-trick. He wins us the game. But you need to keep doing that. You can't miss chances like this. And I know there's bodies in the way, there's people in the way. It is good defending to an extent, obviously. But that's your main striker, 6 yards out. Just put it to the side a bit. Just make a defender hat and ball it. Make it higher in the air, put it in the corner. Don't just put it straight down the middle. It was almost like a pass. Like he was just kind of side-footing it. Smash that. And again, it's just classic because, at that time, and the stats at half-time looked like we absolutely battered them. Didn't quite feel like that in the game because even at the other end, I'm thinking that last-ditch tackle that Romans makes to stop them when the guy drops Fernandez. But just a moment like that, you start to think, right, this might not be our day here. The keeper's playing well. We're missing from 6 yards.
Yeah.
You kind of, I think, a couple of group chats I saw people say it's more likely to go to in a Livingston than us equalise here. So, just the whole general first half for me was just so sloppy, so poor, and that chance was the crescendo of it all.
What did you think about Chermiti today in general? So for me, like, I don't think he done anything right today, really. I can't really think of one moment where I thought, oh, he's done well there. And I think he gave away a lot of stupid fouls. He didn't really get involved the way he should. So after a hat-trick against the team top of the league, what did you think about that performance today?
I just don't get it with him.
It's
because why can he
it?
do it? No, of course it is. Why can he do it? It's as if he raises himself for the big games. And there's a comment there from Scott I was just trying to bring up saying that he struggled on a plastic pitch. It looked like that. But, I mean, you said it as well in another chat. We have artificial pitches at the training centre. These guys know what to expect. I think the vast majority of them have played on a plastic pitch, have played on Livingston's pitch earlier in the season. So it's not really an excuse for me anymore. Like, I get it's not ideal. It's a bit tricky. It was a bit rainy today. All these kind of minor excuses come in, but it just goes back to application. Again, like Hef was saying earlier, it's just, I want to win. And again, I kind of get the feeling they thought, that's only Livingston. But again, like the first goal, he's not going to score for there. It's only a Livingston player.
Yeah, but I think Luke Gibson put a good comment up there, like Livingston want to beat Rangers and Rangers just expect to win. So you kind of agree with that kind of comment then from Luke?
Yeah, I mean, as fans, we should expect to beat Livingston, obviously. Like, that's not a strange opinion. It's the fact the players can't think that. The players can get 2 or 3-0 up and then think, right, it's only Livingston, let's rest, let's go into second gear. But when you're 1-0 down and obviously goes to 2-0 down, it can't be then in a red card. It makes you kind of up it. Like, we were good in the second half, I think. I know we're not on the second half quite yet, but the second half was pretty good for me. The last 20 minutes was exactly how we should be playing, but why did it take all the adversity before you start playing like that? And it's the same crap we say all season.
Yeah, it would just be too easy to be 2-0 up at half-time, wouldn't it? It wouldn't be the Rangers way.
Too boring,
Yeah, absolutely. And we did touch on it on Thursday's pod, for anyone not listening. We did say, like, mentally as fans, we can have that mentality of, like, we're going to do them, but the players absolutely can't. You know, they have to take Livingston as a threat, and obviously that's what showed today. We go into half-time, 1-0 down. Hef, at this moment, the stats actually looked overwhelming, really, in favour of Rangers. It didn't feel that way, really, when watching it. The eye test maybe a little bit different. What were your thoughts at half-time? Did it feel like a game where Rangers would come back and win, or were you kind of fearing the worst of kind of drop points at half-time?
No, I definitely thought we would come back because we seem to be this second. We're a team of one half. We're either very good in the first half and then we just kind of coast out the second, or we seem to be a sort of team that we have a bit of a ropey first half and then the second half's significantly better. I thought that actually, like, when you're talking about it, I thought that we created a lot of chances, albeit, like you've said, we didn't really do an awful lot with it. I thought there was a period of time where I've wrote down in my notes, it was one where Mikey Moore, Romans passes the ball, gets a nice ball in for Tav, right over on the other side, and he cuts it back to Mikey Moore. Mikey Moore, it's almost behind him, so he doesn't quite get the shot, but when he does get the shot away, the keeper's like lying on the floor, and it just hits off him in the stomach.
Yeah.
And that summed up the first half for me, was a lot of nearly chances and a lot of opportunities that just a little bit more power or a bit better position, putting it a bit higher, lower, and that's in. The keeper had the game of his career, and
Yeah.
typical that he's had it against us, but
Yeah.
I did think that should that keeper tire, or should the keeper kind of get in his own head a little bit, knowing that it was getting closer and closer to the towards the end of the second half where he hadn't conceded yet, I would have been like, no, he's going to give a few goals away here. So no, I did have it in our head that when I was sitting watching it, I had it in my head that we would push on and take care of it, especially if, because the results were coming through from Glasgow,
Yep.
you were sitting looking at it where you were thinking, is that message getting fed through? There was a point in the game where it almost looked as if Danny Rule had been given the information that there was a second goal for Hibs, and
Yeah.
he was like, "Come on!" Like it was almost as if he'd just been told, like a kind of Alex McLeish against Hibs moment,
Yeah.
helicopter Sunday. But I don't know whether or not that is. I mean, we shouldn't need to focus on their results to get
No. That,
momentum and to get
yeah.
motivation. So, yeah, in terms of it must be hard. I actually think it must be hard for teams to be in that sort of position where the requirement is to win every single week, and when you're coming up against the bottom side of the league
Yep.
away from home, it must be hard from within yourself to conjure up that feeling of, especially if you've never done it, if you've never experienced winning the league in this circumstance, and we've got a very young squad, it's almost as if they don't have that maturity to go, these are the games that you need to win. But that's when you need to rely on those round about you to feed you that information, and ex-players and ex-pros to come in and have that word with you. So I kind of hope that at 1-0 they would have went in, and some of the senior players would have taken them aside and said, this isn't a given, get yourself out there and get a couple of goals in and settle this crowd, because it's all well and good getting 3 stands, like hopefully we'll see next week, but it's all very well getting 3 stands when you're winning and everything's well, but when you're away from home and you've got 3 stands full of angry fans, it's not quite the nice atmosphere to be going out in that second half.
Yeah, and it's mad, Hef, because I think like obviously we'll probably all take notes, not knowing who will kind of host, but like I think this game is the most notes that I've ever took in terms of chances. Like there's some games I can go 20, 30 minutes without having a single note, and it seems like every 4 or 5 minutes it's that right chance, even if it's a little half chance. It felt like one of the games, and I bet you anything, their goalie next week, whoever they're playing, will go and for a corner catch one, throw it in
Yep.
the net or something. It's inevitable as well. So, but we go into the second half. We had a halftime sub. We brought Miofsky on for Skov Olsen. Now, Iain, I personally thought first half Gassama and Chimiti were playing awful. I don't think Skov Olsen was playing particularly well, but was that
No.
the right change for you?
Well, I don't know if he was injured. He takes a tackle and goes down, so he might have a knock. We don't know. If he doesn't, I didn't like it. Mainly because it then puts Gassama on the right, and he stops becoming a footballer when he's in the right wing. I don't know what happens, but he just forgets how to pass, how to run, how to dribble.
Yep.
His timing's awful, position, everything just doesn't work. It's like he's playing it like sort of defence or something. Just doesn't work. So I got the idea of making a sub. I think something had to give, so that was fine. Scott Wilson coming off, didn't have a massive problem with. As I say, wasn't playing well, might have been injured, didn't look up for it, really. To me, he just looked like he was just getting rid of the ball whenever he got it, so I get why he came off. But I just see Gassama going out right and think, no, I don't want to see it.
Yeah.
Give me something else. I don't know.
Yep.
I mean, looking at the bench, there was no Ant-Man today. There was obviously Barami was there, but I don't like him outright either.
Yeah.
So I don't see what would have been perfect. It just wouldn't have been Gassama for me. And again, there's subs that I'll come on to later that annoyed me more. But I did just have that. No, it's not for me, this one. But yeah, it's not. That's not just like saying it after the fact when he's obviously had a terrible second half himself. But you just know he doesn't work out there. I don't know why. Don't know why it's a similar-ish position, but Gassama's just one of those guys. For me, it just has to be a sub-impact player. Scott's just said it himself in that comment there.
I agree with that.
Cannot be starting games, especially if you're home. Just not good enough.
Yeah, and I'm going to come to this comment from CF. Hef, we've seen Olsen now's featured in 6 games for Rangers, kind of like a marquee loan signing, wasn't it, in January? At what point do we kind of need to have a serious discussion about whether or not he's kind of fitting in?
The next comment's probably just as valid. You're not paying the money for him at the end of the season on the back of these performances, and I think together they make a very strong point in that for a player like him to come in, I get that he's not going to just come in and hit the ground straight away and become the player that we all expected him to be. Not even this year, but like 3 seasons ago, he's not been playing a lot of football. Even at Wolfsburg, his form wasn't great.
Yeah.
So sometimes you run that risk of when you've got a player that's of high quality in YouTube and you're constantly looking at the videos, you're looking at them from 4 and 5 years ago and thinking that that's what's capable of
What
that
you're
player.
Get, yeah.
The same could be said about why we're not signing Ryan Kent just now, who's currently without a club, is that if you watch him for 5-6 years ago, he was our best player, someone that we could have cashed in a lot of money for, somebody that all the fans would have been desperate to keep for as long as possible. But time changes, and I think that's the thing is, Scott Olsen is one of these players who is, I thought when he came, he hit all the right targets for me. He spoke a good game. It was all about how he got it. He was dead keen to get in on the day that me and Iain went to the Annan game to do the coverage. And we were sitting in the press conference room and he just walks in. I mean, he didn't have to do that. Clearly he's been up for it. He's came out. There was all this fanfare about him. Maybe once the dust has settled, he's thought, hold on, I thought I was coming here for a bit of an easy time of it. Get some goals, get some form before the Danish games. It's not happened. And he might be in his own head a little bit with that. Because it's all well and good to settle at a club when it's going well. When it's not, it's even bigger, because if you've got players that are coming on like Gassama and like other players who are relatively unknown in the world market, if they're coming on and bettering you and bettering your assists and your goals and everything else, that can be good. Like if everybody's been relying on you to be the main man. So yeah, I think it's now getting to the point that it's not just a case of settling in period. He's been here for a decent amount of time. That's been a couple of weeks now that we've not had that he's not been involved in like 2 games within the 1 week. So he's had time on the training pitch to get the message across. If he doesn't start performing soon, then I would not be paying that £9 million for him. Absolutely not.
No, I agree with you. There, Hef, absolutely. And I was kind of hoping after the Kilmarnock goal, he would kind of kick on from there and maybe show us a bit more. But you were talking about compilations there. Maybe Livingston got stung by Barry Mackay's compilation. I didn't realise they had signed him. He was on the bench today for Livi.
They should make a compilation for that goalkeeper just off the highlight reel for getting punted for
millions
£20 million.
You'd get a good fee for him after that compilation. But yeah, we'll go into the second half. Couple of chances with a Miofsky. This is going to be a kind of recurring theme. A Miofsky shot that looked like it was heading into the top corner before yet again the goalkeeper pulls off a great save, tips it over the bar. Fernandes has a header wide. I think the ref blew for a foul on that occasion. Although none of that really matters, as it was Livingston who actually found themselves 2-0 up. Another free kick. Into the box. We weren't able to deal with it. The ball lands to the edge of the box, where Danzo picks the ball up unopposed and is able to play pretty much a straightforward pass into Lewis Smith, who is unmarked, takes a touch, hits a left foot strike across Jack Butland and into the goal. Yet again, from a Livi point of view, a great strike, good goal, not much Jack Butland can do. From our side, probably poor defending. We'll stick with you for this one, Iain. We're kind of often praised for attacking set pieces and our ability to create from them under Scott Fry. Today we conceded 2 from set pieces. How worrying is this, and what went wrong?
It's weird, yeah, because even as good as we have been attacking set pieces, we've actually defended them a hell of a lot better the last few months compared to the start of the season, obviously. So it was going both ways. It was going really well, and we're getting clean sheets. That's now, 4 league games we've not had a clean sheet. And today, both goals, again, like you said, Livingston hat on, good goals, well worked, clever. For us, you can't have a guy in the edge of the box with that time and space because, again, it's only Livingston, kind of springs to mind. He's not going to do anything for there, but a good pass. The guy's in way too much space. Then in the box, that Lewis Smith, great finish, but how's he got the time to compose himself, get the ball, lash it home? Again, he probably has scored once all season. I think the stat came up that he scored 4 goals against Rangers now, and it's only like 6 goals his whole career, something daft like that. So yeah, it's classic. But I think it's Tav. I don't know if it's Raskin or Moore. It's one of the two of them. Just close it down better. They both just kind of allow him to shoot rather than sliding in. There's not that urgency, that desire to stop the shot once you've kind of got the pass through to him. So no, it's annoying. And again, at 2-0, it's not over. Obviously, we could still come back and win, but it's such a mountain to climb. Like, you can't give anyone a 2-0 head start after an hour. And again, no shame on Butland for that one either. I don't think he had anything to do today. Their 2 chances were 2 goals. For me, I don't think of much else they done, but just so much more we could be doing in that scenario. And again, like you say, we start the second half pretty well. You do think, right, get the equaliser and we'll be fine here. When it goes 2-0, you're questioning where this squad at that moment are going to find 2 goals from. I know they do in the end, but at that point, it's just, again, reiterating it, but that mountain to climb that we've done so many times this season is so needless.
It was annoying because we had maybe a little half chance for kind of Romans was kind of in a good position down the left, takes a touch. I think it falls to Mikey Moore, and he
does so well in that one as well. The composure in the box to control that and get to the byline, does everything right. But
I think it was another save from their keeper, but at that point I was thinking, right, we have momentum here. But then yet again, I think it's John Souttar that gives away the foul as well. I might be wrong on that. I've not double checked, but I feel like at the time it was Souttar. But yeah, it's just annoying to me when a ball falls at the edge of the box and a guy's there unopposed. You know why? We had too many defenders to attackers in the box. You touch on that, Iain. Why? Why? What's the point? And then it makes it harder for Butland to come out and collect. There's too many bodies as well. So I get it. Yeah.
That question as well, especially for the first one, because you're like, well, whose man was that? Because everyone was here. Like all 10 outfield players are in here. Whose man was that? Whereas if that's 3 or 4 bodies less, you can just mark individually a bit better. And I say it every time on Ibrox. What are we doing here? Just absolute madness. I'm not going to slate Scott Fry. He's been a miracle worker, but that's one thing that grinds at me so much.
It's just as simple as going man for man and maybe even having 1 spare, isn't it? You don't need 2 or 3, 4 spare. So if somebody's edge of the box, man for man, just somebody else go edge of the box. That's straightforward football to me. But
I actually think that Lewis Smith's man was Raskin, and when Raskin's ran out to close down for the player who has made the pass, I think that just leaves that boy completely
free.
Again, though, it's that naivety just to be like, I'll get him. He's only a Livingston player. And then he just slots it by him. And then he just scores the goal. It's this. If that's an Old Firm or if that's a European game, it's all very structure. We all move as a unit. We all do this because they're interested in those big games to win because it looks good on the telly. It looks good for their moves that they're got one eye on for the next couple of seasons away. So those are the moments that they all want to perform in. That today was not. That's exactly what you were looking at, was complete errors across the pitch based purely on this idea that even if we make a mistake, they'll not punish us. And they were very clinical today with the chances that they got.
Yep.
Yeah, absolutely. And obviously I think this is a team that haven't won since August, isn't it? And me and you, Iain, obviously touched on why do they always give us good games? They give Celtic a good game at Parkhead. It's mad, isn't it? But yeah, the next talking point is only 5 minutes away, so the game becomes probably a little bit frantic at this point. 60th minute, we've got Fernandez plays a really good pass, actually, really tidy pass into Gassama, who kind of makes a blindside run on Montano. Montano fouls Gassama. The referee deems this as dogso. Results in a red card. Hef, was a red card justified? I don't think I've really seen too many opinions kind of suggesting otherwise.
No. At first when I saw that they were doing the VAR check, I was thinking, this is clear a red card as you can get, but
I think they
obviously
were more checking
initially
the
it was
offside, weren't they?
they were checking the offside,
Yeah.
aye, but nah, I mean, given the fact that again it's pretty close to being inside the box, I thought that I know it's not as close as the next one that we're going to probably talk about in a couple of minutes' time, but
Yeah.
no, I don't think there's any argument for that one. He wipes him out.
Yep.
I mean, I know it's not last man, but as you said, goal scoring opportunity. I think he's in a good position there enough that
Yep.
if he's wiped out at that point, that it is a denial of a goal scoring opportunity.
So what did you think in that moment? Because sometimes I think playing against 10, sometimes maybe not makes it harder, but they're more inclined to just sit with 10 behind the ball and not have anybody up. So it almost results in them becoming more defensive, which makes it harder for us to break them down. But when they got that red card, were you thinking, right, 30 minutes still to play here, a long time, we get a goal soon and we can turn it around?
I think where my head was they were still playing with like 9 men behind the ball, but with
Yep.
like one up,
Yep.
just on the off chance. And I think when you're kind of throwing everything in the kitchen sink at trying to get a result, all it takes is just one pass upfield. And the boy Muirhead actually thought on a couple of times he was only really one wee nick away for getting by Suter. There was one in particular I thought, oof, that was pretty
Yeah.
close.
Yep.
The fact that they'd lost a man meant to me that it's probably the case that that player would have been like kind of swapped out. So
Yep.
yeah, I was pleasantly surprised because it meant that I thought that our focus on attack would have been more complete and we wouldn't have had to have an eye on the potential runners coming through from the back.
Yeah, I agree. So but in that moment, I thought, right, I don't think we're going to concede again, but it might make it a bit harder to break them down. But we had a few subs after that. Iain, we'll kind of discuss this with yourself. You were very vocal about these subs. They were very attacking subs, which we don't really see much when we're behind. But we had Chukwueze came off for Nadiri on the 64th minute, and then we had Asgard coming on for John Suter on the 73rd. To quote you directly, Iain, you said that is like a sub that you would make in FIFA. So you really didn't like the changes, did you?
No, because it was very much a case of just throwing stuff at a wall until
Yep.
it sticks. For me, it was just, oh, you're a striker, get on. You're an attack, get on. We were lacking control the full game, and that just wasn't going to help us. I get the theory, and again, that's why I kind of talk about FIFA in terms of like, oh, just put all your strikers on, you're
Yep.
more likely to get a goal. But in Majovski, Chermiti, and Nadiri, they all try and do the same thing. They're all like, I know a lot of them work better with a second striker with them, but they're all like your target man number 9s. It's not as if you've got one that's pacey, one that holds it up, one that goes in behind. They all want to play the same game. And then suddenly you had Nadiri sort of about right wing where Gassama was trying to play, and then Moore was getting on top of Majovski. I just don't understand it. And again, taking Chukwueze off, we said it right at the start of the pod, you've got a guy like Diomande who's in not the form of his life as such, but he's played pretty well, been in good form since the Old Firm game.
Yep.
Just bring him on, try and get a bit of control in the midfield. And again, the Asgard for Suter one made more sense to me because, as you just touched on, they didn't have a striker at that point. So why have you got 4 defenders? And before that, when we were playing with everything through Suter, everything through Fernandez, they can both pick a pass, but that should be a Diomande. That should have been an Asgard 10 minutes earlier just to try and get on the ball, create things. And yeah, I just felt it made us a bit too chaotic. And yes, we needed chaos. Yes, we needed guys in the box. That's all fair. But if you're not creating and controlling the game, it's not going to work for me. I just didn't understand it. And you could argue it paid off in the end, obviously getting something from the game, but I just think we still had a good, 30, 35, probably 40 minutes when that red card gets given. Plenty of time there to control things, calm things down, and create loads of chances, score goals a bit earlier. I think we could have won with better subs today. And again, it's frustrating because against Motherwell, we all slagged the subs, slagged the lineup, wasn't good enough. Got it perfect against Hearts last week. I think every decision from Danny Rule made total sense, but the only sub that came on today to any good effect, and that was just because he was willing to take on his man, get to the byline, hold the ball a little bit, not just rush things. And he obviously is the one that gets assist later on.
Who did you say for that? For Bajrami, did you say?
Yeah.
Your audio cut out a little bit. I didn't hear it.
Oh, sorry, yes.
I thought the same as well. I thought Bajrami was kind of the only sub to really make an impact. But then you think of kind of recent away games, like you said, Diomande coming on, done really well, kind of turned the game really at half-time at Parkhead. Diomande also assisted Raskin. Nice run, nice ball through against Motherwell as well. So I was a bit surprised not to see Diomande come on and just give us a little bit of control. But hey, from my notes, I've kind of noted there was a lot of passes today. They were just kind of played straight out the park. Really kind of straightforward balls. Tav had a few where he just hit too long, where he's usually quite accurate in these situations. I had a few kind of notes of players kind of slipping as well. Chermiti slipping a few times, Miovski. What did you make of this? Was this an issue with kind of us adjusting to the pitch? What do you kind of? I know the pitch is always going to be mentioned, but we can't really use that as an excuse, can we?
No, I don't think we can use it as an excuse, but I think you can use it to explain the general play of the game. Like, I think in the first half, there was a good few times that Romans had been passed the ball out on the left back, and normally he seemed pretty assured with like how to receive the ball. He's always kind of front-footed, looking to press on, and a few times like he's misjudged the pace of the ball, meaning that he's had to kind of, instead of running straight onto it, he's had to kind of bend the run as if he's almost like he's misread it, and that happened too many times. I think the ones where like Fernandez's one where he just blitters it at the park.
Yeah.
That doesn't change on a grass pitch if you just leather it at head height at people. But the ones that I thought were more the one that you're talking about with Tav, for example, Tav plays balls over for that diag for whether it's Gassama, for Chermiti or whoever it is to run onto. When the ball's coming down at that trajectory and it's bouncing, normally you'd expect it to stick a bit, but because of the pitch, it's just running a wee bit further. Now, I know that, and I'm a 20 plus stone 30-year-old guy who doesn't play football anymore and hasn't
You
played
can hit a
football.
diag though.
I could hit a diag. I can't chase it, but I could hit the pass. So, like, for me, if I know that, surely a professional footballer goes, do you know what? I need to try and catch this. I can't let it take the bounce. I'm going to need to keep my head over my shoulder and try and get, even if I can get a boot onto it, to take some pace out the ball. It'll make the bounce a lot easier for the control. But no, you don't see it. And you don't see it for the 5th minute. You don't see it to the 85th minute. It just seems as if the players are going, oh, that's right, it's a plastic pitch again. Oh, that's right. So it's not a case of blaming the pitch. I think sometimes it's a case of blaming the individuals for not being prepared enough to play on the pitch, or again, that naivety to being like, oh, well, it's a plastic pitch. Ah, well, we'll be fine. We train on them. You go, no, there needs to be more. Like, you need to click into gear. You need to think, if it is a plastic pitch. I know Iain had commented saying, oh, we're just kind of hoofing it up the park now.
Yeah.
I think that's one way of combating that, is just if the ball isn't going the pace that you want it to along the deck, take it to there. But if you're going to do that, you then need to be able to read the pass if you're looking to run on. And if you're not going to challenge in the air for it with any sort of success, basically it just means that all the plans have just fell flat and you need to kind of start again. And yeah, like I said, if you're going to just smash the ball out off people and expect it to stick, it's never going to happen no matter what the pitch is.
Yeah, I agree. It was frustrating to see though, wasn't it? Because there was so many of them as well. So, but we'll go to the first goal for Rangers next. We're on the 81st minute here. It's a ball swung in from the right hand side. Chimiti challenges for it. Potentially, it actually looks like a foul, I thought, on first viewing. I don't even think it's checked, thankfully for us. The ball eventually falls to Fernandes in the box. He turns on his striker instincts and absolutely smashes it into the top corner. There was still 10 minutes to play at this point. Obviously, excluding the added on time, we weren't sure what that would be at that point. What did you kind of make of the goal, Iain? And at that point, yet again, this question's going to come up a lot, but in that moment, were you starting to believe that we could win the game?
I didn't have enough time to win the game. I thought we're at least getting something here, which obviously proved true. But no, it was a really good goal, both from Fernandes. Obviously, the finish is ridiculous. Like, none of our strikers can score that goal, so that says a lot. But I also like Bayrami. I credited him before as well, but the fact he keeps it alive at the byline, picks someone out. I know it's a bit messy who actually gets to him. It doesn't just hit it in and hope kind of thing. It seems like he's kind of directed in the box properly. And yeah, really good goal. And I think you obviously hear the crowd at that moment alive. We still, as you say, have at least 10 minutes, a good 15, at least, knowing there was some stoppage time coming. So it's right. There's one, get a second. Get a second in the next few minutes, we could win this. It's so annoying it comes in like the 80-something minute. Like, that should have been 20 minutes ago, kind of thing. It shouldn't take till the 80th to actually get there. Again, I think if that goal comes 10 minutes, 50 minutes earlier, I think there's no doubt we win that game, just knowing the kind of fear that would have set into Livi. But at least it got us on our way to something, I'll say. But no, really good goal. Just a little bit too late to get all 3 points, obviously.
Yep. And then we'll come to the next goal, 7 minutes afterwards. We've got the equalising goal for Rangers. It's a cross in from Tav on the right hand side. Mikey Moore, of all people, to glance a header into the bottom corner. A really good goal, actually. I thought he took it well, especially for a guy that's not really known to be good at headering the ball. So yeah, Hef, talk us through this goal. And yet again, similar. Did you think at that point we probably expected quite a lot added on time? Were you starting to believe that this might be a win?
Yeah, I thought once that second goal went in that we would push on and get the third. It just looked as if at that point that after the first goal went in, that the Livingston team just looked as if they were, oh no, here it comes. Like we're backs against the walls here. I don't know. It just seemed as if they had been rattled a little bit when actually I thought that their defence up until that point were some of the challenges that they were making, some of the like defensive decisions that they were doing. I thought this doesn't seem like a team that are bottom of the league. I thought they'd held their own really well. But yeah, let's get on to the next talking point because
just before we do you know what kind of
enough time to go through it.
It's not, I'll be quick here. What I think made me think, oh, we're doing this here, is the fact that Hibs score about this time. And I know it doesn't link to our game, but it's just that, oh, this never goes our way. This is always the opposite. They're losing, we're equalising with a good 10 minutes of play left. That's the way fine. Oh, we're finally going to do it.
You see the stars starting to align, isn't it?
Yeah. Just that stupid false hope you get as a Rangers fan, innit? Same every time.
Love it.
Was there an incident after that, Hef?
I think there was something something to do with Mikey Moore being assaulted inside the box.
So that is what we will come to next, which in my opinion the most controversial decision of this game. Injury time. Season potential, it might be one we look back on. 93rd minute, Miovski flicks the ball through Mikey Moore. He's in on goal. He's in the process of taking a shot, and in the process of shooting, he is completely wiped out from behind or kind of from the side by the Livingston defender. Now, for some reason, the ref's on-field decision is to play on, which is probably the most baffling thing about all of this because it was clearly a foul, right? So how the ref has chose to play on from that, no idea. VAR had a long look at it, I think about 3.5, 4 minutes. They had a look at it before deciding that they can't intervene as 1, it's outside the box, 2, it's not dog so no red card can be given, so you can't pull that back for a free kick. Hef, we'll go to you. 4 is all yours. Talk us through it.
I can't In the moment that it happened, I was like on my phone looking to see other people's reactions
Yep.
because I was that certain that it was a penalty, and I'd almost thought to myself at one point I was actually like, I feel sorry for Tav here. It's taking so long. There's a lot of pressure now on him. It's got like the longer this takes, the more pressure that's building on. Hold on a minute, what? And then the next thing they're just playing the game.
Yep.
Like it just seemed as if it was just like absolutely an absolute joke that having spent 4 minutes looking at it, that they can't decide whether or not that a player when one even at that, right, there's two other players either side of him, right?
Yep.
But he's already by them.
Yep.
So like any sort of brain would have realised that if he takes that touch, like he's already past the last defender. If he takes that touch, his forward momentum is taking him directly in front of the keeper for a one-on-one with him. So, first of all, it's in the box, or it's at the very least on the line, which still merits a penalty. So, therefore, it's a penalty regardless. But if for whatever reason you can't see the lines that are on the pitch, or you can't see that Mikey Moore is on that line, to then say that it's not endangering an opponent or a goal scoring getting in the way of a goal scoring opportunity, that is laughable. And it's not even. I said it was season defining. I think across the board this weekend rather, we've seen a complete calamity for the SFA and for the referees. It's been disgraceful because if you're going to have VAR and you're going to be that reliant on people to come in and actually make these decisions on your behalf when you're sitting in the play, you know the feel of the game, you know the pace of the game, you can judge it for what it's merited for. If you then decide to send that to somebody else, or if that is the decision of the SFA, and they spend that amount of time looking at it and they come up with that as the outcome, I think it's disgraceful. And I don't know how they go about it. But again, what is the point? They're going to go to SFA, they're going to complain, they're going to get back the same outcome that we have just predicted of what it is that they're going to say. And somebody earlier on kept talking about release the audio, release the audio. We won't get this now until probably after the two Old Firms.
Yep.
In which case, by that point, it could either be very, very important and nothing will change, or we're not that focused on it because other things have went other ways and it won't have that big a significance. In either way, that won't change it. They need to get it right in the moment. There's no point in going back
Yep.
and looking at it in 3 weeks' time and telling us that they got it wrong. And they can't keep doing it time and time again.
Yeah. So Iain, I'll come to you with your thoughts on it as well, because obviously it's quite a going to be a talked about incident. I mean, for me, the defender makes no attempt to win the ball. He's clearly just wanting to hack down Mikey Moore as well. He's in the process of shooting. Is he potentially in the box? Does the contact happen outside the box? Is that what we're going to get from Willie Collum in a couple of weeks? What do you think?
Firstly, I don't know when people started saying dogzo for denial of goals. When did that happen? Everyone's talking about dogzo. That's new to me. No, it's ridiculous. You can actually see the panic in the ref's face for me, and like, oh god, what would I do? And like, why is he not going to look at it? Why is it took 4 minutes of some guy in a room going, nah. I just, that has always confused me with these scenarios. You've got the camera over there, go and look at it. Because see if he looks at it and goes, no, I think it's outside. In that case, maybe you can't intervene. I know there's a stupid rule about they don't get involved in things outside the box. Okay, whatever. I still agree with you guys. It's a red card at the very least. Worst case scenario for us, it's a free kick in a dangerous position. Red card for them, and we've got another 6 or 7 minutes against 9 men. That was could have been a massive difference. We had 2 free kicks today from a similar area. One that puts it just deflects wide. The other one, Keita makes a good save and Fernandez blasts over. We are threatening from free kicks. So there's a massive chance if that had been given properly. But how you can look at that, how it takes 4 minutes to look at that and still get it wrong is mental to me.
Yeah.
Because that one replay where you're looking at Moore sort of running towards the camera, that view, where you see his left leg just get swiped away. Right there, that's the foul. Fact. Again, I think cameras aren't great. I think it starts outside the box, as we're saying. I think that connection
The
is
foul
right
though
on the line.
continues in, though, does it not?
Yeah,
Like,
and I know I've seen people say that continuing thing only works for pulling a jersey. How does that make sense? I think that probably is the rule. It just, how does that make any sense? So
I
no,
think
to
that's- I
take
think-
that long.
I think that's what we'll hear from Willie Colm, because we had it with, is it Kavankara, whatever he's called for Celtic, the push on him from Dundee. We had that was in the VAR review this time around, and he said because it's a push and it's outside, his hand is outside the box, basically, is what they said.
There's been some mental decisions lately, ever since that trusted red card at Hearts, which was a red card. Wow. But a certain team kicked off about it, as they always bloody do. But when that then happens, it's just this now chaos about the one. Was it the game?
You look at the Aberdeen game.
Yeah, exactly one. Yep. Never in a million years is that a red card. He's not through, and there is cover there. Whereas today, Mikey Moore is a split second away from either, as Hef said, got that final touch, and he's 1-on-1 with the goalie. If not, he's shooting, and he's still in front of the goalie. The two defenders are, it might be a millimetre behind Mikey Moore, but they are behind him. So that, in fact, is a denial of a goal scoring opportunity. And it's the obvious foul, as I touched on already. It's just, it's unbelievable, but yet believable. Do you know what I mean? It's just like, of course I was. Yeah, and again, as I say, that ref's face, he looks like, almost like, oh, I've got this wrong. Can you guys bail me out in some way? That's just the whole vibe I was getting from it. And again, that's where they've probably went, it might be outside the box, and there's maybe a covering defender, so I play on. Maybe fine. And the worst, not the worst part, but an extra annoying part for me is that we had 9 minutes added. That VAR review took 4 minutes, say.
Yep. And
they had a guy down injured for a minute, so then you're thinking, well, there's 4 plus the one, that's 5. So we'll now play till the 14th minute. No, just add a couple of minutes at the end and blow bang on.
Bang on, yeah. It's always bang on, isn't it?
Absolute madness. Absolute madness. And again, we hate doing it, but it's absolute fact. If this was Celtic, they'd still be playing now. So it's just, it really pisses you off. We didn't play well today. We didn't not win just because of refs. It's not just trying to kind of cover that anyway. We were crap for 80 odd minutes. But when you have these massive season-defining moments, which, like, if we get out of that, we have 3-2-1 today. We're all loving life. We're right hot favourites for the title for me if we win that game today. Whereas, just that one small moment of incompetence has not went in our favour yet again. Because again, the refs, I just said it myself for that Motherwell game, refs are hopeless in this country, but they're like extra hopeless when it comes to Rangers. And I'm so bored of it.
If I saw a comment on Twitter, X, whatever you want to say, I can't remember who it was, so I can't credit, but he said since Willie Colm came in as head of refereeing, he felt that the standard of refereeing has actually went down significantly. Would you agree with that or disagree?
To jump in, because he defends him every time. It's never the ref's fault. How often does he sit in that review show and go, oh yeah, we got that wrong? It's always, no, it's fine because that wee rule there says it's fine. If he can't be honest about it, that whole show is
one thing I do like though is they do come out with clarity in a way to show the audio in a way they could
in their way though.
Do that. Yeah,
they come out in their way.
I get that, but it's good to kind of see what they are saying, and then we can kind of see a bit more on it. But would you say that as well, Hef? Like, I don't think the referees in this country have ever been great, but would you say that the standard has went down?
I don't think it might tie in with the same timing as Willie Collum, but I think the standard of refereeing has went down significantly because they don't feel like they have to get the right decision straight away.
Yeah.
Like if you've got 5 people doing one job instead of one person doing it, immediately you take your eye off the ball because you know that somebody else is coming. Whereas for all the good referees that we've had in this country of years gone by, the ones that stood out were the ones that commanded the game, and they did it in such a way that they made big decisions at big times and stood by it. And alright, like how many games in old firm histories or in these big games would you be sitting talking about now as a talking point like seasons later? Whereas I can think of the one that comes into my head was Jack Butland getting kicked in the head and not getting sent off. Like, the fact that back in the day, they didn't have these cameras. When we were growing up, they didn't have these cameras. And in that moment, he would have been red carded because a human being with a brain would have went up and said, you can't just kick people in the head. Red card, straight away, no questions asked. But in today's world, it's, I don't actually know if you're allowed to kick. Are we allowed to, hold on, VAR, let's go to the camera, let's see if it's okay to kick people in the head now. No, all right. See if a player gets tackled inside the box. Is that a penalty still, or have we changed that? Or and what's Dogso? Right, cool, right, that's fine. There just seems to be more. If you've got more people to pass the blame to, and transparency is great in any sort of company or in any sort of industry, but transparency only works if somebody takes accountability and it is impactful. There is no point in Willie Collum coming and saying, I take accountability, that was wrong, we're going to train them better, we're going to have a meeting on this next Tuesday, we're going to do this, we're going to do that at the Orient. It's too late at that point. The mistakes have already happened and the mistakes are piling up. So what they need to do is they need to try and find a way in the next, because they can't change things during the season. I get that. But what they need to do is they need to try and make, if they're going to go to VAR, it needs to be no still images and it needs to be a time limit where they say, you watch, Derek Ferguson had said something on open goal that I thought was a fairly basic but decent enough answer, was you get a chance to watch it a number of times, whether that's 3 or 4 or 5, you watch it those times, and if you still can't find the decision in real time, don't slow it down, don't check different angles. Sorry, check different angles, but at the same pace, do it 3 or 4 times, and if you still can't get the answer, go with the decision that you had initially, don't change it. The way in which they're doing it now is wrong, and it's not working, so they need to change it.
Yeah, there's no doubt in my mind that if like that referee's not made that decision because he's thought in his head, well, if I'm wrong, VAR will rectify it.
Yes.
You know, he doesn't want to make a big decision at a critical time in a game, and that's what it takes away from the ref in a way. But and then even growing up, I didn't really know the names of any refs. But I knew like Hugh Dallas, that's probably about it. And then now you're thinking, oh, it's Clancy, it's Walsh. You know the refs, you know what I mean? It shouldn't really be like that. They shouldn't be the focus of the game, you know. I had a lot more to speak about, but I think we'll finish up there and we'll do another. We'll talk. Honestly, I've got like so much more. There was so much to talk about tonight. We'll stick to an hour for tonight, and we'll come back on Tuesday. I think we'll do a pod on. Is that right? We've got one on Tuesday.
I'm free tomorrow because I got like 9 bullet points we didn't get to. So
I've got a lot here.
Tomorrow.
I'll come on with you tomorrow, and we'll do one tomorrow just to go through the rest. But we'll leave it at that tonight. We'll me and Iain will record, or if you can come on as well tomorrow if you want. We'll record another maybe a half hour.
Just call this
to
part
recap.
1. Yeah.
Part one of the weekend. But that'll do us for tonight anyway. So obviously everyone that tuned in tonight, thank you very much. Just a reminder, if you're watching us on YouTube, if you can subscribe and like the video. Big thank you to Hef and Iain as well for their reflections on today's games. And to everyone tuned in, we wish you a lovely evening. Thank you and good night.